Well, hi guys, it is Sunday afternoon and it's pretty quiet around here. The baby is napping and the boys are helping dad outside. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time and make out our 2-week meal plan and place our grocery order for Aldi. That'll be picked up on Tuesday. And at that point, I'm gonna use our ingredients to make some snacks. I'm gonna batch prep some snacks this week because I've been doing a lot of scrounging around and we're doing more things on the go like track meets and such. So we need some of those on hand. So come along with me. Here's my setup here. I got my recipe books and my menu up. I'm gonna get started and make some snacks with me. Well, here is our calendar. And so what I typically do is I look at the next 2 weeks and note activities and commitments that we have. And then I go ahead and create a Google Doc with our meals for the next 2 weeks. And I always do suppers. And then in this top row, I have breakfast in bold. And I don't always plan out snacks, but because I am going to do some batch prep for snacks, I went ahead and wrote those out as well. And I just go back and forth between my Google Doc and my Aldi cart. And when I do it in this fashion, it goes pretty quick, especially if I have a little bit of quiet. So here we are midweek at nap time. My homeschool guy is doing some independent work, and I'm going to use this time to make a double batch of 3 different recipes. I prefer to have scratch-made snacks on hand because I can make so much more food for a fraction of the cost, and also because I can control the ingredients. This first recipe I call giant snack bars or giant snack cookies. It calls for about 2 cups or 4 sticks of butter, 1 cup of sugar or sweetener of your choice, 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then 1 cup of buttermilk, 4 cups of whole wheat flour, and 4 cups of oats. And then you can play with the add-ins. So today I'm using some raisins and mini chocolate chips. I've also done this with different nuts and craisins before, and it turns out delicious. So this recipe is a little more crumbly than traditional cookies or bars, so I serve them up on a plate, or this time of year we head outside with them. But they are very hearty and filling, and I just feel good about all the ingredients in them. We can even eat them for breakfast. Typically though, we stick to eating this type of snack in the afternoon after school, and for the morning it's usually a cheese stick or meat sticks, maybe with some nuts or a clementine, something like that. And I found that if we stick to that, it's just so much easier. Otherwise, I'm trying to figure out, okay, did you eat your muffin for morning snack? Because you shouldn't have it for afternoon snack, and then you need to have fruit now, and doing that for 7 people is too much. So I kind of like to have a bit of a cadence that we follow and then offer choices within that. The second recipe is banana bread, which I can make in my sleep, and sometimes I feel like I do. Now, I say this in jest, but there is definitely something to be said for knowing a recipe well enough that you can make it on autopilot. I remember thinking how grateful I was for recipes and processes that I could do on autopilot after my 5th baby was born. He was harder to soothe, such that I couldn't really set him down hardly at all. And I had 5 kids, 9 and under. And I remember thinking, what would I do if this recipe took the same amount of effort and time as when I had my first baby and I was still learning? I just find so much value in having systems, routines, and yes, even some recipes well ingrained to free up precious energy for learning new skills or raising another child, or just lessening the overall toll. I'll be sure to leave this recipe in the description below, and you tell me too in the comments, do you have a recipe or 2 or 5 that you can do on autopilot? I'm curious to know what those are, and to see if you find the same benefit as I do. This next recipe is of homemade protein bars, or protein bars from scratch, or clean protein bars. They only have 4 ingredients. 4. So all you do is combine 1 cup of nut butter, I use peanut butter, 1 cup of oats, 1 banana, and then 4 scoops of protein powder. I'm using chocolate today. And you combine all of this in a food processor, and that's it. I did add a little bit of unsweetened vanilla almond milk to moisten it a little bit, or you could do that with water. I would say the trickiest part of this recipe is that it is sticky. So I like to work with parchment paper. I line a pan with it, and then I also take a little piece and I use that to press the mixture into the pan. And this works best for me. And then I pop it into the freezer, and once it is firm but not hard, I slice it into bars. And you can store it in the fridge or the freezer. That works better than room temperature. These bars have staying power, you guys. So they are a great meal replacement when you're in a pinch, and a great snack for, busy days, for hungry kids that you just can't fill up. These are it.
This is the best.
Here is the final product of this meal prep session. This probably took me under 2 hours, from initially gathering ingredients to the final cleanup. And I think that's a really good use of my time. It saves us a bundle compared to if I were to go to the store and buy all of these snacks prepackaged, and it is so much better for us. I am a firm believer that you can feed a crowd well without overwhelm and without it costing extra money. Batch prepping is what has made this a reality for me. I think there's often this misconception that you need to dedicate hours and hours to meal prep, but hopefully you saw today that much can be accomplished in under 2 hours. I hope this video provides some inspiration for you. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next week.